Look at these quarterbacks. This is good.
All right, so we got Fernando Mendoza, of course, right? Just the number one pick of the NFL draft, right? And his reaction, of course, really awesome, and of course, even too, just seeing kind of the things that have taken place since the draft, right? Even when he was in Vegas, I think for just kind of like his announcement right in front of fans, and he's just dropping F-bombs, right? Because he's so pumped about it. And for whatever reason, when he drops an F-bomb, I'm like totally comfortable with it. It doesn't have the same sharp edges to it. Maybe like I typically hear that word in the New Jersey area. So Mendoza gets the pass when he drops F-bombs.
Yeah, and he did a commercial already too. I was like, well, okay.
Yeah. Kids everywhere. Everywhere.
And, I think as the process of the draft and we waited more and more, he became better and better. I think people started watching more and all of a sudden go, wow, I didn't know he was this good.
Right.
Yeah, it's your job to know he was this good.
Yeah.
But, and it plays big, he has a strong NFL arm. I'm not going to say it's, the top of the NFL, but it's on the next layer for sure. It's pretty strong. Playing indoors is going to be a big deal. He's going to love that.
I do think, though, that he has the potential to be better, right, as his career progresses. I do not think that he has hit his ceiling yet as far as his throwing ability.
Yeah, well, you, me, our other brother, your brother.
Our other brother.
Yeah. But we watch that stuff, and I don't say, well, he's got to use his legs more. No.
Yeah.
Got to use his upper body more, my man. Okay, everybody get over it. If he rears back just a little more, his velocity is going to noticeably go up.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just so compact, and he can make it work. And what he does, he makes it work really, really well.
Yeah.
But if you can find a little more speed on the ball, trust me, that'll be a big thing in the NFL. That it'll take your performance level maybe here, it's going to drive it up to here. And, that's what you always want. And I'm sure if whoever's coaching the quarterbacks out there, they show him one little thing, he's going to go like this. And the coach go, yeah, just like that. That was really good.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for him. I'm excited really for the Raiders. I have nothing there. I don't know anybody really out there, nothing, but I don't know what it is about the Raiders. I'm like everybody else in the country. You kind of root for them and your home team and the Raiders, and some people root for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I get it. I think, the Raiders, for whatever reason, we as a family seem to always kind of be like, somewhat supportive of the black and silver. So,
as Al Davis told me once, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm on the field before the game doing a Raider game, and we'd say a few things, and he goes, I listened to you. You got all the answers, don't you? And he said, I go, well, that's my job.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I said something he didn't like. Oh, you got all the answers.
Yeah.
Oh, man, he was great. We would talk football. I was on a plane from Newark Airport to L.A.
Mm-hmm.
He sat next to me. We did not stop for 1 second.
Right.
He quizzed me about every player in the league. What about this? What about this coach? What coach don't you like?
Right.
Sitting there going, man, do I want to be honest with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really cool. So just thought I'd throw that in there.
That's awesome. And it also just goes to show you, too, he's the owner of the team, but, man, he's thinking about it nonstop, 24/7, right? And that's why he's one of the legends to be a part of the Shield, right, and what he means to the game.
Yeah, great. When I did Raider games, which we did a lot some years, I did 8 or 9. And, you have the meeting with the players after practice over on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The PR guy would come down and tap me, and I go, yeah, what's going on? He goes, Al wants to see you. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
His office was awesome, but go ahead. Let's keep this going.
Okay. All right. We got Ty Simpson, right, with the second quarterback at pick number 13 to the LA Rams. I love the pick. I'm excited about it. I don't buy any of that BS that everyone was talking about on TV. I think Sean McVay is super pumped about this quarterback. How could he not? When you watch the film, I mean, he's a former quarterback. He watches Matt Stafford, and Ty Simpson on film is just super impressive. I don't care that he's 6'1". I don't care, what people are saying about, oh, yeah, the Seahawks and the 49ers are cheering because they didn't get a quarterback or they didn't get a player that can help them with the Super Bowl. Listen, they are a Super Bowl football team. I don't give a damn. They improved their quarterback position. and really gave themselves, I think, like a huge safety net if something were to happen to their MVP quarterback. But Ty Simpson to the Rams, very excited for Ty, very excited for the Rams moving forward and the next generation of this offense whenever Matt Stafford decides to move on.
Okay, you said all the good things. One, he fits the offense perfectly.
Yeah.
This offense was him. That's if you said all 32 teams, where do you go that's best for Ty Simpson?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Rams. Yes.
Right.
Be for real.
Yeah.
And now when Matthew Stafford gets hurt during the season, when he gets banged up, but the damn guy plays through everything. Now you have the opportunity, if Ty Simpson's progressed enough, that he could play the game and give Stafford that one game break, which would be phenomenally big during a season. But why? Because Stafford's going to hold the ball and he gives everybody a chance to get open deep. So he takes hits that he shouldn't.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. Apparently this was done a long time ago. Ty Simpson, why did he go to the draft? He knew the Rams were going to take him.
Yeah.
And, and I understand why. We both do. And everything. So it's a little game. He was he already knew the Rams told him, we're going to take you.
Right.
And they had to do it there, I think, because if anything else went on, if they tried to move, then I think the Pittsburgh Steelers would have gone after Ty Simpson.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, your brother talked about it quite a bit this morning about what went on. It was definitely an acting job between Snead and and Sean. And Sean had to act like he was mad, and they're doing all these things because they don't want to make Matthew Stafford mad or not all in. So
right.
I don't think we have to worry about that. But go ahead.
I don't think we have to worry about that at all. No, I think we covered it all for Ty Simpson. I think I'm excited, of course, for the player. I'm excited for the future of the LA Rams. And of course, just adding that security blanket right to this football team that is super talented, that it is capable of winning a Super Bowl. And they still made some good moves in the rest of the draft. But let's continue on with the quarterbacks. Now we have Carson Beck, right? The next quarterback off the board, third round, first pick of the third round. The Miami quarterback, Carson Beck, goes to the Arizona Cardinals. Big guy, your thoughts on just Carson Beck and the landing spot there with the Cardinals?
I like it. I like it a lot. And of course, they got that other guy, Jeremiah Love. I think that's going to help him be in there. And, too, everybody goes, well, the Cardinals have no quarterbacks or whatever. Jacoby Brissett really, I thought, had a good year for the circumstances he was put in it. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't surprise. I think he'll feel pretty confident saying he'll be the opening day starter for the Arizona Cardinals. So it's a good guy to learn under because that's who he is. He's a good guy. He'll help Carson Beck. And again, I kind of think the offense fits who he is. He played the way he played down in Miami, Matt. He's going to play the same way with the Arizona Cardinals.
That's right.
They're not going to drop back and throw the ball every time. They're going to try to manage the game, keep the running game going enough, and make it easier on the wide receivers and, of course, the great tight end and the quarterback.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Like the skill group is pretty good across the board now, especially with Jeremiah Love. I think that they'll be able to make more of an impact this year than people are kind of giving them credit for. And of course, just like with new messaging as well, you do see teams with new head coaches kind of have a little bit of a different start typically, right, to just how they see themselves with a new offense and getting some excitement. You got some home run hitters now with Jeremiah Love, and who knows, right? All of a sudden you start really believing in what you got there. And it can catch fire. So I think for Carson Beck, it's a great landing spot. Plays very similar to Jacoby Brissett, which I think is fantastic, right, for everybody involved. And, man, he's got tremendous talent. So I think for them, another for that pick, third round, Carson Beck makes sense. They did a great job of getting chased by Santos, the interior offensive lineman, earlier in the second round, right, getting a little bit better in the offensive line, more athletic. So I think overall, good pick by the Cardinals there. Now we go to the Steelers at the 12th pick of the third round, going with Drew Allar. This is, probably one of the first real surprises, right, at the quarterback position, right, as far as how the whole group laid out in the draft. I did not anticipate Drew Allar going as high, or at least higher than some other guys that maybe were a little bit more consistently productive throughout their college career. But Drew Allar, the big man there at 6'5", 230, out of Penn State, goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers right down the road.
Well, the Steelers have something about big quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw, Mark Malone, Neil O'Donnell, Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I didn't even hit. Before we said this, I had more in my mind. I can't even think of them right now. But that's a lot of big dudes.
Right.
And Drew Allar is that. I mean, come on. I look at it, and good for him being drafted there. But it's almost like they got three of the same guy.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph and who am I missing? The other backup, the Steelers.
Who are we blanking on right now? So we got Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, and then, we got Will Howard out of Ohio State going into his second year, which is also a Big Ten quarterback.
Yeah, no. So it's like I said, I can't believe I forgot it. But yeah, they all kind of have the same thing. Mason Rudolph really knows how to play, knows who to throw the ball to, but lacks really, in my opinion, the ability to really throw the ball at another level to help himself and the offense.
Right.
But, he can get rid of the ball quick. And Will Howard, I don't know. He did okay throwing the ball. I was never just enamored. Wow, this guy really, his size, his throwing ability. But I really haven't seen him either much since he was at Ohio State. So, and Drew Allar, I think he did play a little better towards the end of this past year. Even when they played certain teams early, like Nevada and whatever, he didn't play as well as you would expect.
Yeah.
He does have a strong arm. I mean, they told me that about 70,000 times in the draft. He's got a big arm.
We always have to remember too that these are people that are, when they're doing these draft shows, they have projected Drew Allar as a top 10 pick for the past 2 years now.
Yes.
So they do need to harp on what they saw to make them make those claims so early on, just to justify the legitimacy of what they're doing, right? But the truth is, right, there's one stat that people throw, he didn't play good in big games. I think that's BS. Like, we know Penn State and in general plays bad in big games, right? That's the reason why they're Penn State. It's a known thing. So I don't think that's a quarterback issue. That's just a Penn State thing at the moment. But what you do see is just they could never find any rhythm on offense. They were inconsistent that way as far as how they were developing their team and their offense, the passing attack, which was weird because they did have at times a good, solid running game to lean on, but they can never be a balanced team. His completion percentage always was hovering around 50%, so it was a very feast or famine-like style of play. He's a decent athlete. He moves well. He can scramble for some yards.
Yeah.
But it's not like his go-to thing. So Drew Allar is definitely a developmental football player with a ton of potential, of course, right? And for him, hey, you're in Pittsburgh with Mike McCarthy, who knows a thing or two about quarterback and development, and you've seen Mason Rudolph improve year after year as a backup. So got to think that Drew Allar can have a potential career arc similar to Mason Rudolph there with his skill set and what he brings to the table.
One line here. Drew Allar, it can only get better because the Penn State offense, it was awful.
He's going to love that. He's going to love being in the NFL because he's going to be like, wow, we never thought about any of this stuff at Penn State.
Yeah, and I watched a lot of Penn State games because they're, 12 o'clock games on Saturday, whatever.
Yeah.
And, I studied Drew Allar hard, and I just would go, man, what was the design of this play?
Right.
And, what is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
So I think that happens to a lot of college quarterbacks. You get in the pros, and you just go, damn, they just paint a picture that makes it so clear.
Yeah.
What I got to do. And I never felt like that when I watched Penn State. I've said this many times. I think it was a UCLA game late in the year. Drew Allar, really his last game.
Yeah.
He got hurt the next week. That was, to me, by far his best game maybe as a college football player.
Yeah.
Threw the ball better, moved around. It just looked good. Made a couple throws that I had not seen him ever make in the years that he played. He threw a seam down the left sideline. I said, wow, where's that been? So this will be interesting. It's going to get coached a different way, different offense, and it's a great opportunity for him.
It is a good opportunity. And listen, with all the stuff that happened in his college career, he still went in the third round, and he still got a fantastic opportunity to have a really long career and to make an impact. So that's what's really cool. And another quarterback here off this list, the 10th pick in the fourth round, Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. Very similar to Drew Allar. High expectations going in, right, to the offseason and into the season. And, of course, just both teams just fell flat. And really on both sides of the football, just did not live up to the expectations, and Clemson maybe more so than Penn State in a lot of ways, right? But Cade Klubnik going to the New York Jets, big guy, your thoughts on the Klubnik going to New York?
I would say I was really surprised.
Yeah.
I like Cade Klubnik for many reasons. One, I think he's a leader. You know, I remember watching him the year before in the playoff game against Texas, and damn, he might have been the best player on the field that day.
Right.
But I didn't see that guy. They didn't get any better as a football team. And it's another one, you know, I'm not really crazy about what they did. They did, man, some games he would throw 10 straight balls in a row that never went more than 1 yard down the field. Yeah. And I'm not blaming him for that. That's just the plays, and just be careful. I don't know what the hell they were doing. But decent size, solid mobility. Mm-hmm. His arm is, I would say, I'm going to say it's a little below NFL standards. In other words, that line comes great, we go down. He's going to be in that bottom half for sure, I think, just in natural talent.
Right.
And I thought there were some games, and I watched him a lot, that he really threw the football poorly.
Right.
And you might make bad decisions. That's one thing. But just the pure fact of throwing the ball, that doesn't go well. That's what bothers me.
Right. So, and, you know, it's interesting, too, because both Drew Allar and Cade Klubnik, to me, as quarterbacks, mechanically got worse going into this season, you know, and I wonder if just, you know, some gurus out there kind of got their hands on them like, oh, you know, I'll help you, you know, and I really just thought that they kind of lost a little bit of their way, you know, and especially Cade, because I just thought that he really regressed as like a pure mechanical passer in this past season. Yeah.
And you know, maybe his worst game throwing the football was in the Pinstripe Bowl, Yankee Stadium. Mm-hmm. So that would worry me a little bit. But the good thing is, what do we always say? Well, the NFL football is a hell of a lot better than that college one you were throwing.
The Duke, that's right. That's right.
So, yeah, that's going to help a little bit, I would think, or whatever. And again, it's just going to be different. You're going to be taught differently. You got Frank Reich there, Bill Musgrave. They both had, you know, really good careers in the NFL. They're going to be there to, you know, help you out a little bit, and that'll be interesting too.
The next two guys that we have on the list are Cole Payton and Taylon Green. Cole Payton going to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a guy that Greg Nedjma really liked a lot, right, when he was doing his evaluation. And Taylon Green to Cleveland, a quarterback that I really enjoyed a lot and think there's a ton of potential for him and his skill set at the NFL level. Your thoughts on those two guys, big guy?
Cole Payton, I feel like I told 100 people, don't even watch anything. Watch the home game against South Dakota the second quarter. And all you'll do is you'll just laugh because it's ridiculous.
Right.
Big, strong guy. Everybody, you know, Tim Tebow, whatever, Jalen Hurts. And he's going to be – I don't think he's a great thrower. By throwing, just judging it that way, I would say he's below NFL average. But, you know, moves around, tough as heck. And he ran on these teams he played, like South Dakota, when he wanted to run, break tackles, people missing, whatever, but going to be different in the pros, that's for sure. And then Taylon Green, he might have been the first guy I watched the whole offseason. Yeah. And I watched him, I went, Jesus almighty. I loved him playing. Yeah. You know, the only thing I would say, Bobby Petrino was his coach. That helped. But the only thing would be this. He needs to be able to loosen up just a little with his motion and really let it go.
Agree.
Because he has that ability. Yeah. And running, he can adapt to the NFL maybe a little quicker than some because his running is real. And it's going to be real in the NFL too. So if he doesn't like it, Taylon, make the read. If you don't like it, just run.
That's right.
Okay. They're not going to say, go find number 3. They're going, 1, run.
Well, it's cool, too, for Taylon Green because, you know, and really for Cole Payton, if they are guys that are projected to be backups or third stringers for them, they're going to bring a little bit of a new wrinkle to the offense with their ability, right? So when they come into the game, defenses aren't necessarily, especially if it's like a mid-game thing, defenses aren't really going to be like, oh, yeah, I got to keep in mind like zone read here and some of these other plays, right, that like maybe these guys are really going to specialize potentially at the NFL level with some of their quarterback designed runs and where they can make an impact. I see Cole Payton, more as a potential Trey Burton, right? out of Florida, played quarterback, but kind of was like an athlete, could do it all, right? So I wouldn't be shocked if Cole Payton ends up having a little bit of a Taysom Hill, Trey Burton type of career where, yes, he is a quarterback. He does quarterback drills, but we do find him at H-back or F-back at some point, right, within the offense because he is big, he is strong and athletic, and, maybe he can show out in some other spots. Let's go to the last three.
Say real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, Cole Payton. He's not Taysom Hill because Taysom Hill was like a wide receiver running the football. That's
right.
He doesn't have that. That's one thing. And Taylon Green, he's the quarterback that comes to your team and you go, man, I wish we wouldn't have drafted him because he's going to get everybody excited with some of his runs and all that other stuff. And Cleveland's got enough messes going on down there with the quarterback situation. And this is going to add to it a little bit for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So now you have Ethan Kaliakmanis, right?
Oh, yes.
Out of Rutgers, going to the Commanders. Baron Morton from Texas Tech, going to the New England Patriots. And Garrett Nussmeier, the last quarterback taken in the 7th round, going to the Kansas City Chiefs out of LSU. Big guy, your thoughts on just those three guys? And, just are you surprised that – I guess let's just go right to it, right? Are you surprised that Garrett Nussmeier was the last quarterback taken in this year's draft?
Oh, yeah, of course. And more than surprised, my God.
Yeah.
But there must be something else. So that, listen, we talked about it. Throwing the football, it comes easy to him. He's got it all. He's got every pitch you want. If you want the change up, the power throw, I think he's just a natural big-time thrower of the football.
Right.
But his movement, which I think is okay. I don't know. Teams must have had more stuff on him. How was he acting within the team? Him and Brian Kelly didn't, he blew off the head coach in his last stint with LSU.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm surprised. I thought his arm and just the ability, he moves around, he's tough. I thought all that would put him in the mid 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
Man, it didn't happen. So that's my quick thought on him. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I would have thought, if anything, right, the roles would have been reversed between Garrett Nussmeier and Drew Allar, right? That's like really where I kind of thought like the draft would go after Carson Beck. I thought Nussmeier would probably be the next guy to come off the board because I thought he would be the safer overall player. Maybe the injuries and the nerve cyst issue, right, with the oblique were something that teams are very concerned with. Maybe the freestyle play being a little bit too reckless. Some of the other stuff that you mentioned, who knows? And honestly, and it could be all of the above, which led to this fall, right, for this quarterback. So either way, what's that?
That's what it was, all above.
It's all the above. I think it was just like a perfect storm, unfortunately, against the quarterback, right? And where, you're kind of weighing your options. And I think that's why, like, hey, Cade Klubnik, maybe a little bit safer. Taylon Green, hey, the ceiling's a little higher, right? So I think for them, it's still, the story has been written, for all of these guys. Garrett Nussmeier finds himself in a pretty good position, honestly. Justin Fields is a guy that has really struggled to do the simple routine plays consistently at the NFL level. I don't think Garrett Nussmeier will have that same challenge as Justin Fields had. I think he'll be able to adapt a little bit quicker, right, to the offense. And, with Patrick Mahomes' injury, who knows? So he's going to get, I think, a lot of repetitions this offseason and really get it indoctrined right into this NFL way of life pretty quickly.
Hey, he landed in a great spot. There's no doubt about it. Kaliakmanis did a Rutgers game this year.
Yeah.
Watched him practice 2 days, saw the game, and saw him on TV many times. I mean, I think he's a good thrower of the football. He makes aggressive decisions. And, Matt, he has a good arm. It's definitely, I'm not going to say it's big time NFL. He's not up there with Matt Stafford and all them, but he's in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And he spins it, can throw with pressure, tough as hell. And, he's the other guy. He is a crazy football nerd. Yeah. And I mean that only in a very respectful way.
Thank you.
I just like that cartoon, Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. A long time ago. But yeah, so I saw him and I remember doing the game going, man, I think he's going to get a chance in the pros.
Right.
So, but I never heard his name during the offseason. And unfortunately, I didn't study him either because I thought, well, I guess he has no chance. But who was it? The Washington Commanders got him. So that should be a pretty good offense for him too.
It is, and I think for him, they're kind of taking a flyer of just seeing, hey, can he eventually be our backup? And it just goes to show you too, just being a starting quarterback in the Big Ten clearly has some power to it in the NFL scouting room, right? Whether you were a guy that underperformed, but either way, if you were a consistent starter at that level in that conference, I think teams really value that. And I think that conference too, probably resembles the NFL as closely as possible as far as like the style of play the conference has across the board, right? Which I think is another reason why maybe NFL scouts can see, right, the future for some of these QBs kind of being a little bit more accustomed to that play style. But overall, solid football player, tons of experience, transfer from Minnesota, makes some big time plays. And, hey, he played for Coach Giano. So we know that he's tough and we know that he's got some resilient skin there, right? So he doesn't shy away from telling anybody the truth ever. So,
let me say this to you, Matt. In practice, they throw the whole time. So
they get after it.
They do. It's long practices, or at least it feels that way. You stand on the sideline.
Yeah.
But the throwing never stops. And, man, you know what? I think that's what got me. Just watch my practice and go, man.
Yeah.
Well, spinning and with much more power than you would perceive. So I think, he's going to find his way on the practice squad at worst.
Agree.
He's not going to be cut and pushed out. He's going to get a chance because he's going to show everybody toughness, smart, and a good arm. Those are not – they're undeniable. He's got all three of those. All right,
that was great, big guy. That's all we got. This is Sims Complete, giving you the breakdown for the New York Giants and the quarterbacks and where they went and the skill sets that they have. So we'll be back for more Sims Complete on the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. We'll be back for more breaking down this season's NFL coverage. Couldn't speak there for a second.